welcome everybody to episode 3 of Rally Caps, a college baseball podcast. I am your host, Ben Porter, alongside my co-host, Mark Luino. We got a really special episode for you guys today. We got Mr. Stephen Schoch in the house. You know him as Big Donkey 47 on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you get your social media. But we're going to have a good time talking about everything that happened this past week, about Stephen's career playing at University of Virginia, his time pitching in the regionals and in Omaha, and just, all the happenings in college baseball, all the fun stuff. So Mark, Stephen, how's it going, fellas?
It's going great. I'm so stoked to be here. Thank you all for having me on. I'm really excited to get into it.
Listen, I'm super excited to have you on too. I mean, you put out one tweet about our podcast and we got like 200 followers. So that was a huge boost right there. And then I'm learning your last name is pronounced Schoch, which that was a shock to me. I had no clue how to pronounce it. I was like, he's Big Donkey 47. That's how I know him on social media.
It's way easier to pronounce Big Donkey than Schoch. I'll give you that.
How do people normally do it? Do they say Schoch or Scotch or?
So literally anything from Schoch, Scotch, Scooch, really all sorts of things. My freshman year, they all called me Schoch, which, I mean, that was mainly my head coach. His name was Billy Jones. So whenever I would get a chance to talk to him, I'd just call him Coach Hones, just because, if he can't learn my last name, why learn his,
Got to throw it back to him a little bit.
I got to say, I love that on the Virginia site now that I've noticed, like all the players, it has them saying their names with their pronunciation. I was like, that's very helpful when I've been looking up some guys and trying to pronounce stuff, because you start looking at some of these other colleges and you get some names out there and I'm like, I'm going to butcher this badly.
Yeah, when I was at UMBC and we didn't have that function, I was getting butchered left and right whenever they would say my name.
It's funny from a team side, because like everyone on the team knows who has the tough names. So when they start to announce the lineups, you're like, oh, are they going to get this one right? Are they going to screw it up? So I'm sure you had your fair share of announcers, botch that when you're running in from the pen or something.
Yeah, the one that surprised me the most was when we played in Pensacola. They were calling Zach Geloff Zach Geloff, which, I mean, if he had a J, like that makes sense. But his name is like a layup of a name. So they said his name, and I was like, there's no way they get mine right. No shot.
Dude, people will find a way to mispronounce names any chance they get. Like my last name, Luino. You see a lot of vowels, you get thrown off a little bit, but I've heard it all. The best was like my high school graduation. They just botched my middle name, my last name, everything. I was like, this is my high school. They don't even know my name. It's like we've dealt with it all for sure.
In the first episode, I almost said Luino for you, like with the Acuna style.
Yes, the NBA.
But yeah, guys, let's hop into some college baseball stuff. I think we should talk about Stephen. Congrats on getting to 50,000 Twitter followers, dude.
Yeah, it's
you and Mark are in that club together.
I love just being able to have the platform to share college baseball, because really all it is I have that following just because someone gave me that spotlight. So like I said in my tweet, after thinking about it for hours on hours of how to say it and then putting it out there, I want to give that spotlight to different players and different guys who don't get that shot. So I'm hoping I'm doing a good job, but I hope to continue to do a good job if I'm doing a good job. If I'm doing a bad job, I hope to learn how to do a good job.
Now, what exactly are you doing now that you're done with baseball? I mean, are you trying to pursue like a career in talking about college baseball? What's kind of like your avenue right now?
So right now I'm actually getting my real estate license, because I think I love sales, and I think it would be fun to help people buy houses. I mean, I've watched a lot of HGTV growing up, so I know a little bit about the game. Don't know a ton yet, but I just feel like that's a good way to, make money for what I want to do, which is just talking about baseball. Like where I'm at right now is one of my favorite points in life, where I'm just tweeting about baseball and having fun while doing it. And so I always want to keep it kind of like that, where my livelihood doesn't depend on, if I tweet good or tweet bad, things like that. So,
yeah, dude.
Especially that way, like if someone's chirping me, I can always just go about as mean as I want, as bad as that sounds, but without worrying like, oh, my next paycheck might look a little different if I'm too mean here or something like that.
Well, dude, in that interview where, that went viral and, you kind of picked up a lot of following and stuff, you did a good job censoring yourself.
Yeah, it's tough because especially being on a mound where all I'm doing is saying terrible things to myself.
You can swear, by the way, on our podcast. No big
All right,
deal.
fuck yeah, cool. But it was definitely tough. They did cut out a little bit of the interview, which is okay. I mean, I'm surprised that they still got 2 minutes out of it. But I mean, it is what it is. I liked it. I had fun.
I mean, that's kind of like who you were as a player, though, from what I have seen. And like, you get Al Roboski, the Mad Hungarian comps, and Kenny Powers, and hitting yourself on the side of the head when you're on the mound and talking to yourself, like just playing with a lot of fire, which is what we love and what college baseball is all about. So there's no reason to tone that down in interviews or podcasts
exactly.
or whatever.
And my thing is, like, you just watched me cuss and punch myself a bunch of times. I don't really know what you expect to get out of me, but fortunately it turned out pretty good, I guess.
Has this always been like how you went about like playing and like your personality on the field, or is this something that like, kind of came into a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say after my freshman year is when I really learned how to like pitch well. Like I had good numbers my freshman year, but like I wasn't really anything that great. My best outing came, we were losing to Elon in like our 8th game, and it was cold as hell, and I was just absolutely miserable and super mad. And I had the best outing of my life, and I was like, maybe I should just get mad like every time and keep trying that. So like you would see me on the mound, like after my warm-up pitches, I'd take my hat off and look very introspective. Some people thought I was praying and things like that, but I was really just thinking about all the things that had made me mad up to that point in my life. That way I could kind of like get in the right headspace. And I like doing it that way because, after I'm done pitching, I can be super happy because, hopefully things went well, or I gave myself more things to be mad about, but I can be done thinking about the mad things. So
you're like the water boy, you get yourself.
I'm very simple.
Well, man, I mean, had a hell of a career and got some awesome moments out of it. And obviously getting a little bit involved with the media side of things is pretty sweet. But I mean, everybody who steps on a college baseball diamond, at least all the Division I players, their end goal is to play in Omaha. And that's something that you got to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. What was that like?
So it was unlike anything I could ever describe. By that point in the season, my body was tired. My arm was just about dead, but I was like, if I get a chance, I'm just going to let adrenaline take me through it and see, how the cards lie. Hopefully I'll throw strikes. Who knows? But from Omaha, really what stuck with me wasn't just I don't even know what stuck with me. Good grammar, Steve. But what stuck with me was just the interactions I had with people. And would that be different if things went better on the mound for me? Maybe. I don't really know. But just being able to go to the baseball village, which is like the little area with all the shops outside of the stadium, and like meet different people who are fans of me now, which it blew my mind that I had fans in the first place. But like getting to meet a little kid who's like, they look up to me. And I'm sure y'all know, like when you're little and you meet a college player, it's like, wow, this dude is like, that's it. That's the guy.
Yeah.
And I was exactly like that. And I didn't really realize it till this year, but I'm just like an average dude. Like all college players are pretty similar in the sense that we're all just a couple of guys who love this game. And so being able to meet kids like that and just really share the love of the game with them and like give them a cool experience is something that really stuck with me. And it just kind of reminds you of like when you were little and you fell in love with the game of baseball, and these kids might be traveling far and wide to come and watch you, which is awesome. You want to give them a show, but you also want to give them a good experience.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing that needs to be highlighted right now is baseball being fun, like with all the crap going on in MLB. And for a lot of people, most people, like this is the only baseball they're seeing right now. So, and I think you're selling yourself short a little bit. I mean, there's a reason that 50,000 people, want to follow you and see what you have to say about college baseball. And so,
well, the start of the following definitely came from my marketing strategy of, transferring from 3 schools, you get about 30 guys per school following.
There you go. So yeah. Add summer ball in there.
90 followers.
Yeah, man. Add summer ball in there. You're at like, 200-300.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I made the mistake of staying with the same team for too many seasons because I wasn't getting many new followers from it, but I had a bunch of fun playing with them, so it's okay.
No, definitely, man. I mean, those. I mean, it's how you make your closest friends. I mean, I know my closest friends are my baseball friends. I'm sure yours are the same.
Absolutely.
Mark, your friends that you've got, I mean, probably through baseball as well, either playing growing up or through the media now. Like that's how we met.
Yep.
And it's just a sport that brings people together. So
Yeah, like literally, it feels like everybody that I'm involved with somehow is baseball related, one way or another. Like played with them in high school, or we watched baseball together in college. We went to South Carolina baseball games. Like whatever it is, it was a really cool way to like find a common ground, and then you build your friendship through there.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about baseball is how, like, regardless of where you're going, there's going to be guys who are very similar. And I feel like, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but like every college baseball team, you're going to get guys who are a lot alike. You got to have the same weird sense of humor. You got to like the same sorts of things to be playing at this level. And so that's why one of the millions of reasons why I love it.
There's also, tons of different types of guys though. Like everyone's similarly interested, but not everyone's running around naked in the locker room trying to, fire guys up or, playing pranks, putting shampoo on someone's head while they're rinsing it out so they think it's never ending. Like not everybody's doing that. So it's good to have those different types of personalities in there,
Absolutely. If you had a team full of the wild card locker room guys, nothing would get completed.
Yeah, and on-field product wouldn't look too great either. So,
no, absolutely.
So you were back at UVA this past weekend to watch the games there. Saw you throughout the first pitch, so you got a warm welcome, and then got to watch UVA. Dominate, I suppose.
It was a very offensive weekend for the Cavaliers.
Yeah.
And their pitching was great too. I mean, I was impressed with a ton of guys. I mean, I'm not really impressed because I already knew they were good, but it was good to, kind of confirm my beliefs.
Right.
And then you had a guy like Jake Geloff, who just had an unreal weekend. I mean, one hit for the cycle. It's a pretty good weekend to start off, but 3 homers, 13 RBIs in 3 games. Like that's all right, I think.
Yeah, there's a clubhouse out in left field. It's called like the Boar's Head Clubhouse or something. I've watched him put like 4 home runs off of it this year. It's incredible. I love watching that kid swing.
I think every field needs like a fixture beyond the fence in the outfield, so you can like mark how long the balls, the home runs are. He hit it over the Boar's Head Clubhouse. Yeah, some frame of reference.
I remember when I played at ULM my freshman year. First of all, I was pitching with wet socks, which is never good for me. But I gave up a home run that there was probably this thing. It was a Cane's chicken basket. Like if it hits off this, and you show your ticket at Cane's, you get a free basket of chicken. I was so close to giving everyone free chicken, but it went over by like 15 feet. It was a bomb.
Dude, those promotions are always stressful. Like summer ball, they'd have the beer guy or the ice cream guy or whatever it is. If you strike out, like everybody gets ice cream or something. And you always walk up like shaking. You're like, all right, I either get this out of the way the first one, or I'm making every single fan go home sad. So.
And as a player, that's just the easiest way to get them to like you. Like, just go up your first at bat, absolutely throw the AB because it's summer ball and like not many people are paying attention anyway. It's like I can make these people happy by swinging at 3 balls, sure.
I can't admit to ever actually doing that, but the thought is always there when you're walking up to the plate.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's why I'm a pitcher, not a hitter, because of that bad mentality. But hey.
Speaking of cycles, we also had Trey Lipscomb, who went 5 for 5 with a cycle with 9 RBIs for Tennessee, who scored 68 runs this past weekend. We'll get into that in just a second. But Steven, can you give us your marketing idea for guys who hit that certain milestone?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. I mean, the cycle is pretty rare in college baseball. It's not rare in women. It happens. So for this fact, I think Tampax should offer an NIL deal where, the Tampax cycle the game, whatever it is, they just pay like $500 to whoever hits a cycle. I mean, one, it's very low cost to Tampax, and from my understanding, I've been informed through the tweet. I'm not looking up the economics of it, but they aren't the nation's leader in tampons right now. So I think this would be a great way to streamline their success. Just throwing a kid $500 when he hits a cycle. It doesn't have to be a lot of kids, but 1, 2 a year. I mean, we already have 2, so who knows what could happen. But
costly year for them.
Oh boy. And what about? I suppose that would. I don't know. I don't know if it would be more frowned upon or more well received in the softball world, but we don't need to get into all those practices.
Yeah,
anyway.
Someone did mention that, and I was like, honestly, good point. I don't have any thoughts on it, but good point.
Definitely the only college baseball podcast or baseball podcast in the world talking about tampon ads right now.
It's all hard-hitting stuff, and we're doing it for free.
That's right. That's right.
That's a free ad. Remember that, Tampax.
I think we've accidentally stumbled into our Tommy White segment of the week, which, you know, for those of you who listen to episode 2, those of you who've been paying attention in the college baseball world know that Tommy White is maybe the best hitter on the face of the earth right now.
He's pretty good.
Him, yeah. Also, shout out to Brad Malm at U Albany, who has hit also 8 or 9 home runs as well. So that guy's on another planet. And then there's some guys from JUCO or NAIA.
Yeah, so a few JUCO guys, Emilio Corona and Zach Dillman. Emilio's from Pima College, or I think it's Pima College, and Dillman is at State Fair Community College. But the thing that blows my mind about Emilio Corona is he's doing it all with a wood bat, which
oh wow.
I don't know about you, Ben, but if someone walked out to the plate with a wood bat against my school, I'd be like, all right, this kid's kind of a douche.
Yeah.
But if he's leading the nation in home runs with a wood bat, I'm going to say, you know what? Actually, thank this kid for taking it easy on us by using wood.
So wait, is he using wood when because JUCO, like it's metal bat?
Yeah. JUCO's BB core.
That's crazy.
Wow. So when you said that, I thought you meant that the league uses wood bats or something.
I don't know if the league does, but I know his home runs are coming with wood bats. I'd assume that they're all metal bats, but
that's kind of badass. I mean,
even if they are a wood bat league, that's still incredibly impressive hitting all those home runs, like as a college player.
That's just savage right there. And what I love about it is I tweeted about it, and Zach Dillman goes, that dude is a savage for using wood. It's like, I just love when players tip their cap to other players. It makes me happy.
And that's something that, you know, we're seeing. We started the podcast 3 weeks ago, and just getting a lot of love from, you know, the players that we post about, the teams that they play for, and the families of players that we post about. You know, we've been doing, and we'll mention a couple of them in a minute, but we've been doing players of the day, you know, hitter of the day, pitcher of the day. And we see a lot of support from the families, the parents, brothers and sisters. Like it's really cool to see a lot of people coming together to support their family and friends on Twitter, just from a random podcast that just popped up 3 weeks ago, you know? So that's been a fun part of running the social medias for the pod.
Yeah, I absolutely love seeing like all the families and friends reach out. Like Brett Malm, who's Brad Malm's brother, was like DMing me about him and stuff like that, which is really cool for me.
Yeah, I thought what was really cool for us is like Ben was saying with the pitcher and hitter of the day, like you would see like, okay, it would start off with the school, like retweeting it. And then you would see like the parents, and then you would see like kids they played high school with at a different college retweeting it. So it's like the whole college baseball community, while like technically you guys are competing against each other, like you really are looking out for your boys. And like, I mean, even yesterday, Ben, with the tweet of the, what was his name? Jonathan, I can't remember, but stealing all those bases.
Jonathan Thomas of Texas Southern.
Yes, which
Texas
by the way,
Southern, yeah.
Like the fact that the 3 leading base stealing guys in college baseball right now are all from Texas Southern is insane. Like we tweeted out, he liked it, and then like a kid from Mike Tarleton tweeted it out, and like that's my boy, he's so fast. Like everyone's just jumping on it. Doesn't matter like who, what school, where you play. Like there's just a huge community. Everyone's connected. It's really cool to see something that, you know, as someone who covers Major League Baseball up until, you know, this year, you don't really see that with other baseball players outside of when they're like, wow, Juan Soto, so good. But seeing it with like just anybody in college baseball, it's really special. It's something you don't get to see a lot.
Yeah. Probably my favorite story about this is So obviously, when Mississippi State's Brad Cumbest hits a home run, first of
I
all,
love it. I love it.
phenomenal name. Hope, just a great last name. And I was on the fence about whether or not I should tweet out that's a cum bomb because it's like, all right, that's pretty low ball humor. But I tweeted it out, and like I saw someone in the replies with his last name. I was like, I'm gonna DM this person and figure out who it is. And it was his aunt. And she was like, yeah, no, we love that you say this. Like his mom and dad think it's hilarious. Like, keep it up. You have our full consent to keep doing it. And I was like, that's fucking awesome out of you.
I think I missed the original tweet, but I saw someone tweet you. They're like waiting for another Brad Cumbest home run so you can tweet it out. And then I look out like, oh, that's so funny. Like, okay, he just hit a cum bomb. I'm like, that's the only thing now you can say when Brad Cumbest goes yard.
Yeah, my fiance was the one who brought it to my attention, which I tip my cap to her for a lot of my tweets. That was a really good one to come up with.
We talked about Mississippi State at length last week with Brent Rooker, but that is not surprising to us at all. Just hearing that, those families are supporting of people in the media and giving, a welcome to somebody trying to get involved with the guys on their team and their players, and just sounds like the culture they have down there. Absolutely. So
yeah, I love their fan base. They were rough on me for the first few weeks, and they found out how I am as a person. They're like, oh, okay, this guy's just a happy-go-lucky idiot who likes baseball. So we'll bring him in.
Well, we asked Brent Rooker this in the last episode, so I feel like it's fitting now. What would you say is like the most hostile environment or hostile fan base that you had to play against?
Coastal Carolina, hands down. Yeah. It was my first ever college game, so obviously my memories are going to be a little bit more amplified. As with everything, you remember the beginning and the end, the middle's all a blur. But it was their first game in their brand new stadium, so it was like sold out. It was cold as hell in February, my first college game, and their fans just were ruthless, especially on the bullpen, because they have like a little catwalk that goes over it to, link the stadium around, they say, but it's just so people can shit on us. But those guys were not taking it easy. Like, our starting right fielder was Bo Myers, Will Myers' little brother. And there were all these frat guys just ripping into him that, you'll never be your brother, which that's rough. Yeah. But it was really funny because like halfway through the game, his brother walked over and just screamed at the kids. And they all
no way. That's awesome.
And as they were walking out, they all liked me because I don't know. I just have fun when people make fun of me. I'm just like, okay, whatever. But I've been talking to them. And as they were leaving, they have like a chain link fence. So in the tailgate lot, you can kind of see the guys in the bullpen. And this kid was like, yo, 4-2, I just got yelled at by Will Myers. It was fucking awesome. Like, that's why I love it, because they're just having fun. They don't actually hate you or anything like that. Some of them might actually hate you, but end of the day, just having fun, bring it to the environment. I love it.
Wait, you wore 42?
Yeah, I requested 47, and they said if you commit today, you can have 47. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And they gave me 42.
Oh my God. I always find that, interesting seeing guys wearing 42. I feel like it should be unilaterally,
I feel
retired.
I feel like across all levels, because I mean, guys playing in college, they want to get to the big leagues, and most guys like their college number.
Right.
So it's like, well, if I get to the big leagues, I lose my number. So why would I want to, or something like that? I don't know.
Baseball players are so superstitious too. Like, if you play well enough to get drafted and make the pros, like, you're gonna want to keep everything you're doing the same. You're like, I hit 415 with number 15. Like, I'm keeping that as far as I can.
Yeah, and next thing you know, they change you to like 15, and that's way less vinyl or whatever material they're using for numbers. And you throw a stamp on a helicopter blade, that thing crashes. You take that weight off of us. Who knows what's going to
happen? Any reason you chose number 47?
So I liked 47 in high school, and actually when I was 12 years old was the first time I chose it. And the reason was it was the only number not taken.
Oh.
And and I just stuck with it because I was like, okay, every level I play at, no one else is going to want 47. So I'll just get 47 each time. And then I get to college and 47 was never available. So I was like, okay, I'll just go Rover.
47 was actually the unofficial number of Columbia baseball. So it's a number that's near and dear to our hearts as well. Shout out to them. They took one from Stetson this weekend.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah,
Love
they
to see it.
took the first game after about 2 years, as did Harvard and Penn. So shout out to some Ivy League schools right there. It's pretty cool to see. But yeah, 47's a big number for the Columbia program, and it's pretty cool that you rocked it too, or you wanted to at least.
Yeah, I had the desire. I mean, I kept the Twitter name the same throughout all 6 years. So
when did you decide to be Big Donkey?
So that was in high school. It was a nickname. So my freshman year of high school, at the start of the year, I was 6'3" and 175 pounds. But I went to a private high school where my dad taught math, so I was a little out of place. But they had a buffet for lunch, and I'm not going to say no to free food. And so by the end of the year, I was 6'3", didn't grow any taller, but I got way wider. I was like 215 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So my JV coach called me a big donkey, and I was just like, I kind of like that. We'll make that a Twitter name, sure.
I love that. Speaking of large people, we need to give a shout out to a guy that we were on since the first episode, and that
needs to be known.
It needs to be known that we were the first people on Mr. Tywone Malone, who is an absolute beast of a human being. He's 6'4", 310. He plays defensive tackle for Ole Miss football. And then on the side, no big deal, he plays baseball. He hits bombs, and he hit a nuke. It was actually a walk-off because the mercy rule was in effect. So shout out to Tywone Malone, friend of the podcast, or at least we are a friend to him. And he said that there were going to be more beer showers on him. So that was a pretty special moment for us because, Mark, credit to you. You were on him before the season even started. So,
well, yeah, he's a Jersey kid. He went to Bergen Catholic, and weirdly enough, back home in Westfield, where I'm from, right across the street, one of my good friends, his younger brother, was the quarterback of Bergen Catholic. I think the same time as Tywone Malone was there. So I think we might have a connection to maybe get Tywone on here at some point because, I mean, he seems to become, one of the new cult heroes right now in college baseball. Seeing a just absolutely monster of a human being playing baseball like he does is pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's a clip on YouTube. He hit a triple. I still can't believe that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. After y'all's first episode was the first time I heard about him, and I Googled that triple. I was blown away.
He runs so well.
It makes no sense. He has no reason to be going that fast at that size, but hey.
If he can, all credit to him. And
he is the refrigerator running from all those jokes.
There's a reason that he's able to play, two sports in the SEC, two major sports in the SEC. So, as always, shout out to Mr. Tywone Malone.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yeah, while we're talking about two sport athletes, I got the chance to see Jay Wolfhook from UVA. He pitched this weekend. He was up to 95 and currently has 7 strikeouts and 4.1 innings. And he's also the first freshman in not UVA history, but in like 30 years to also start a game at quarterback.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Which blows my mind. And he played right field for an inning. I'm not sure if he got an at bat, but I'm pretty sure they were just like, okay, well, this kid can throw 95 on the black. Let's see what he can't do. And I'm not sure they know what he can't do yet.
That's sick.
He's Jameis Winston.
Yeah, honestly. Jameis Winston with plus command. And a banger slider.
Now, Steven, did you get a chance to play with any two sport guys during your time at UVA?
I don't think I did. They had a 2 sport guy right before I got there. He played football and baseball. I can't remember his name for the life of me. And then Jay got there right as I left. So I didn't have the fortunate opportunity, but I think it's such a cool thing that they do. Like, I'm so blown away by it. I got the chance to talk to him. I was like, do you ever think it's kind of like a little bit rude of you to throw 95 just like in your free time when, we got guys trying to do it all their life and can't break 86? And he's got a real cool personality. He seems like a real fun guy. he was laughing about it. So I'm a
Must
fan
be
of him.
must be super smart too. I mean, to play quarterback and know all the, the whole playbook and everything, and then be able to do the same thing on the mound. You guys have, I'm sure you have a complicated sign system and whatever the
Well,
hell goes
we
on there.
did.
But
Now we have watches, or they have watches now.
they do.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was surprised. I did not see it coming, but his brain has to be thinking everything that they got watches, because I can't imagine having the quarterback wristband, the actual one, and then having to
Right.
trade that in for another quarterback wristband that means completely different things.
So that's interesting, because I remember like watching like UVA for the club baseball team I played for. A kid that was a couple years older played there, Brandon Downs, and I remember watching to see him play. And like you guys used to basically have like the football wrist
Yeah.
thing where it was just like pages upon page, and I was like, that's so crazy. But now you guys moved to the watch. I mean,
Yeah.
how would you feel as a pitcher if you had to wear the watch? Is that something that would bother you? You think?
My thing was, like, even when we had the wristbands, like, I had played so much college baseball and talked with our coach, and he was like, look, you know how to do your thing. You know yourself better than we'll be able to learn about you. So you just go do your thing with the catcher. But what would throw me off is like getting the sign from the watch and then having to look in at the catcher while he's just sitting there. Like the social pressure I would get from like him just looking back at me with dead eyes, like, what are you doing, idiot? Stop looking at me. And not to mention, I would probably forget what was called and be looking in like, okay, what pitch is he going to give me? So I'm grateful I did not have it, but I mean, the pace of play is pretty fast with it. I will say that.
Is it? Okay. Well, that's interesting, because that was an aspect that I hadn't thought about in terms of like the cadence of the pitcher looking in, getting his sign, and then going. Like, so once the sign is given on the watch, it's just given to everybody, and then they just go.
Yeah, so it's just the pitcher and catcher, and they just look at it and they're like, okay. And they stand on the mound for like half a second each time, which has to make it really easy for base stealing in my mind. Like, I would recommend like still throwing down dummy signs in my baseball wisdom, but I mean,
Right. You could just, you could go on.
It's working for them. They got Kyle Teal behind the plate. He'll throw out whoever he needs to.
definitely, they'll get it done, and they'll be successful regardless of what they do, whether somebody times them up and steals a couple bags or not. Like, no big deal. But
yeah, and I'm sure they probably work on that.
Oh, absolutely. That is super interesting, though. I feel like we're going to start to see that a lot.
Oh yeah. I mean, like it was was Virginia doing it at the start of the year, or is this?
Yeah, they were, but their games were in the middle of nowhere in North Carolina, so no one could see them.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So they might have been before Vandy. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's a chicken and the egg situation all over again, I think.
And then you mentioned Kyle Teal, who hit a monster home run and had the great lean and had the great bat flip. What's your opinion as a pitcher? Like, I get the feeling you're not against the bat flip by any means.
Oh God, no!
Good.
Get that hell out of it.
Yeah, that's great to hear. But as a pitcher, what do you think as a pitcher is fair to like be almost like a clap back to the bat flip?
A clap back to the bat flip. I mean, obviously, just anything you want after a big strikeout. Like, if you're winning by 12 and you strike someone out, obviously it's the same as a bat flip. You got to have feel to the situation. Like, if you give up 3 runs and then strike someone out and get fired up, it's like, okay, you look like an idiot. But you punch out the side, or hell, you even just have a decent inning and end it with a big punch out. Go nuts. I don't care. I like hand gestures. I mean, there was one I saw. It was on an independent school stream, like, so it wasn't really very televised, and I didn't want to post it and get anyone in trouble. But the kid just gave a good old just jerk off. Here it is, catch it, buddy. And I was like, I love everything about this.
Yeah,
but on a nationally televised game, he might get in trouble. So I didn't want anyone to get in trouble.
Maybe keep it a little PG if there's kids in the stands, but anything besides that is all right. Well, yeah. you were a guy who you would chuck your glove after recording a save.
I would always. That was me, just like, all right, I got all this pent up energy. I need to do something that's going to take some of it away. But also, like, every closer's got their move. Like, I remember watching Fernando Rodney growing up doing the bow and arrow, and I was like, all right, that's sick, but he looks way too calm when he does it. It'd be way sicker if he were fired up. Like, for example, one game, just one game, a catcher brings out an actual bow and arrow and just shoots it in the sky. I think that would be sick. Like, I'm all about theatrics. I love it.
Oh, you should try out for Savannah Bananas, dude.
Yeah, I really want to get down there for a game. Like, it's definitely a bucket list baseball place to be, but also I think it would be so much fun just to play an inning for them and see what's going on down there. And those guys are so great for baseball. I can't say enough good things about them.
I feel like for those listening who don't know what the Savannah Bananas are, go check them out. It's basically a baseball circus. Like, it's real baseball, it's good baseball, but they do some awesome fun stuff. Guys dressing up, wearing stilts, playing, like anything you can think of, they've probably done it. So go check out the Savannah Bananas. But I think it's a good thing for us to talk about as a college baseball podcast, because college baseball is probably right in the middle of Savannah Bananas, like total mayhem, trying to be fun, and then MLB, which is doing away with kind of the traditionalist way of things a little bit, but it's still got that aspect to it. So I think college baseball is a great balance, but I'm curious if you ever got into it with umpires who told you, hey, enough, or you ever got tossed or something for celebrating a little bit too hard.
Never for celebrating too hard, because most of the time the umpires are leaving at that point.
Right. Yeah.
Love to stay. I got told one time in the Cal Ripken Summer League in Maryland, we were playing Larry Sheets' team, who Larry Sheets is not a historical fan of Stephen Schoch, for getting a little too excited and a little chirpy against his team. But there was one time where I had an altercation where we exchanged words and the umpire got a little upset with me. And I was just like, look, dude, this is not affecting the overall outcome of the game. Who cares? And he honestly, I'll give him a ton of credit. He was just kind of like, okay, but don't do it again. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool.
I definitely got into it with some umpires in summer ball, because summer ball, you're out there every single day and it's hot out and you're tired and just trying to get your reps in, and then ump calls one a foot off the plate and it's just hard to hold your tongue sometimes. And the worst part is they know they're wrong too. They're probably just trying to speed it up, so they don't really clap back at you, but man, it's hard not to freak out sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. My closest was actually when I was playing for the Big Train. I had a season where I pitched 33 innings and had one walk. And the one walk was because it was a 2-2 count. I threw a fastball low and away. The umpire was calling strike. And the umpire behind me goes, "That's a balk. You didn't come set." And I was like, "What's a balk?" And he's like, "It's a balk whenever you deceive the runners." And I was like, look around, dude. Nobody's on base. What are we going to reward them for me doing this massive travesty of which I bestowed to them? And he was like, "So that's a ball now." And I was like, okay. And then I ended up walking the kid. I was pissed.
Umpires are the worst.
Just he wasn't getting enough attention, so he had to get some.
Well, everyone was there to watch him. Don't you know that? Come on.
Yeah, all 50s of people coming to the middle of July game that doesn't mean anything quite yet. Yep, everybody's there for him.
Oh boy, I haven't seen too many egregious calls in college baseball so far. It's probably because games aren't televised, and as soon as they are, we'll probably start to notice them. But I have to say, I haven't seen anything too wild.
I will say it feels like the college strike zone is just a little inconsistent at times. Like, there's some calls that I see where I'm like, wow, like, they're clearly trying to get this game moving along. It's 10-0. They're like, let's keep the game moving here. No 3-2 counts.
Yeah, in those instances, I don't really blame them. But when it's like a close game and like they're missing calls, it's like, dude, just figure it out. But also, I mean, they're playing the game too. I've watched pitches from behind the plate, and I could not tell you where the hell they're going. I mean, if I were getting paid even $1, I would learn. But I'm not getting paid, so yeah, I'll leave it to them.
And I mean, that's probably what leads to some of these crazy. This is a segue, by the way. This is those big strike zones probably lead to some of the crazy performances we've seen, like 15 Ks, 13 Ks. Like this guy Parker Messick from Florida State,
Unreal.
struck out 27 in his last 2 outings. And
Yeah, and I think Dollander on Tennessee has like 22 Ks and 1 walk. I think through his 2 starts as well.
Yeah, that's just nuts. Florida State has a loaded pitching staff. They got him and Bryce Hubbard, I think, who he has 22 punch outs. I included that in my little notes section because
there you go.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, just between the two of them, they have about 49 punch outs, which is unbelievable.
It's ridiculous. And the Davidson staff, I mean, we had
Filthy.
we had back-to-back pitchers of the day from Davidson, Nolan Devos, and I am
Blake Healy, I think.
Blake Healy, yeah. Good call. But they combined for, I think, 27 punch outs too in 2 days. And they 15 innings pitched, 27 punchies between the two of them. So
yeah,
unbelievable thing. Yeah. Maybe a little aided by a strike zone. We don't know because they weren't televised. But
it was against good team too. Bryant, who like just
yeah.
in some rankings got into the top 25 and just swept ECU, and Davidson completely shut the door on them, dominated them all weekend.
Yeah, baseball makes 0 sense.
Zero.
No sense.
If we want to talk, nonsensical teams, I mean, we can get into Sac State sweeping Long Beach State, and that's not totally nonsensical. I don't want anyone from Sac State to take that the wrong way because they have a great program. I played with a couple guys from Sac State 1 year in summer ball, and great players and great head on their shoulders, great baseball culture. It seems like, but for them to drop one to, I forget which team in NAIA. Not that there's anything wrong with NAIA either, but for them to drop to NAIA and then sweep Long Beach State, who just took a series from Mississippi State, the reigning defending champions, like crazy shit going on. That's baseball.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like you're trying to compliment them too by saying like, okay, they had a weird draw losing to a NAIA, but no offense to the NAIA or Sac.
Right.
We're just talking about it unbiased. It's impressive what both teams did.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen.
The kid, Colin Hunter, who threw the no-hitter in his first start, followed it up with another great start. And I was talking with Ben before you came on, and we were saying, like, it's really hard to kind of find, especially for some of these smaller schools that aren't being televised. Like, it feels like SEC and ACC, you can figure out all that stuff.
Yeah.
But kids from other schools, like, how do you find out, like, their stuff? Because, like, watching it, you can see it, but, like, you can't get, like, miles per hour on a fastball or anything like that.
Yeah, it's so tough. Like, I'm very fortunate where like a lot of the things that happen, people just send it to me. Like I've had people who were at the Stanford game sending me videos of their dugout and things like that. But just like having people from those schools bringing it to my attention, which like I could not thank those people enough because it gives me something to talk about and I love it and I love sharing it. But for me, I feel like it's just they know that I don't care. I'll talk about literally anything. And so it's a place for them to get posted, and I'm more than happy to be that guy.
Definitely. And Mark, from a team standpoint, I might be able to chime in on that a little bit too, because Columbia, we weren't necessarily a big baseball school in terms of media and stuff, like great program, but it's a academic school through and through. So there are like systems that any team with a camera in center field, basically, they'll post those videos to a system that gets shared with a lot of different teams. And that's all like internal stuff. So you wouldn't see it from a media standpoint, but we would finish I know Steven's a big continental breakfast guy. We'd finish our continental breakfast and then we'd get together in like a conference room in a hotel and watch the pitcher and see what kind of stuff he had. So there are ways for teams to kind of see that and see the repertoire of the pitcher before they face them. But, from a media standpoint, it's just, people sending you stuff like Steven just said, and whatever you can dig up.
Yeah. Tough.
I was going to ask you this too, Steven, because obviously as a former pitcher and you had some guys written down, what guys across, college baseball have really impressed you the most so far?
So honestly, I watch a lot of UVA. I'm a huge UVA fan. Their whole pitching staff has been just incredible so far this season. I mean, they got guys like Nate Savino, who I think he's sitting at like, I want to say his Ks per 9 is at like something ridiculous. Like I want to say 18. I don't want to go too far over and say the wrong number, but it's something stupid like that. I know. Let me check my notes to see what Virginia's at in the K per 9 department. Yeah, as a team, Virginia is at 14.9 Ks per 9.
Oh,
good.
shit. Yeah.
I fucking love Punch Out, so obviously I'm going to talk about them a little bit there. But those guys are nasty. I mean, from a pitching perspective, Colin Hunter was one of the guys I wanted to mention watching. And this one, not a pitcher, but I'm going to mention his pitching performance. Jake Arnold from University of North Georgia. They had an absolute bloodbath game. One of those games no one wants to be a part of, where it's 17 innings. I mean, you do want to be a part of them. I'm just kidding. It's just very, very long time at the field. But he was a first baseman who he pitched a little bit his freshman year, completely stopped. Now he's a fifth-year senior. They needed arms because they ran out of pitching, so he came in from first base. He threw 7 innings, had 12 punch-outs, which is fourth most for UNG history in strikeouts. 1 hit, 2 walks, so his whip is at like a 0.4. And someone DM'd me from the other team. I'm not sure if it's 100% true, but they said he was 93 to 96 with an 86-mile-an-hour cutter.
What?
Jake Arnold, if you're listening, keep doing first base. It's fun. But consider pitching full-time. Because
Mark, we might have to do an honorary, pitcher of the week or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
Position pitcher of the week.
I mean, my jaw dropped when you said that.
And so one of his coaches actually DM'd me about that, which first of all, I love coaches that are into social media and sharing stuff. That shit fires me up. But he included a picture where he was like literally deep V down to like almost his belly button in his jersey, which made me think of the Brent Rooker picture you had seen.
Yeah.
I was like, you aren't weird for finding a weird deep V picture, because I just found like 3 of them.
You might have to send that to us and we can make a pitcher of the week, position player pitching of the week graphic for him.
Anarchist of the week.
Speaking of bloodbath games, we talked about Tennessee a little bit, but this dude Ben Joyce throwing 103 and 103, 104.
Makes no sense.
What the hell's going on down there?
I have no clue. And they just had Garrett Crochet like 2 years ago. Who now he's the most devious card in MLB The Show. So I can't wait for Ben Joyce to be made into one that I can't hit as well. But I have no idea what they're doing.
I mean, yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, he is so like his shoulders were so massive, and like his 103 is like an effortless 103. Like there's guys that like really just like come at you with everything, as you know. And it's like he was just out there just kind of like throwing it. And then Pitching Ninja put out the tweet of like just the sound of what was happening. And there's not many times I remember listening to a baseball game or watching it on TV and I can hear the like into the glove. I was like, this dude, listen, he's doing something right. He's throwing 103 like that. He's a name you got to watch out for.
Yeah, and that's like one of the most entertaining things you can see in the world. It's just like an absolute marvel of human performance.
And I loved watching the hitters just like step out right after a fastball and just be like, well, like, good luck to me. Yeah. I remember when we played against Shane McClanahan at South Florida. Our leadoff hitter goes up there, left on left, 98, like, good morning, good afternoon, good night, punches out. He gets back to the dugout, and he's a great hitter. But we hadn't seen an arm like that for sure. Nobody does. And he's just like, I don't think I even saw the pitch. And we're like, oh, God damn it. It's gonna be a fun day.
He was probably thinking, how does anybody hit that? And then you got up, right?
That's right. Well, one of my buddies, our shortstop, got two line singles in the center, and then I got one of my own. So I was pretty locked in that day. He got the best of me on a low inside fastball too. It was just watched it go, but I would have swung right over it anyway. But I did get one off of Shane McClanahan.
Let the listeners know the count is now at 2 for Shane McClanahan. Ben Porter hit stories.
See, I knew there was a counter, and that's why I brought it up.
Well, yeah. I didn't bring up the hit, so
yeah, that's on me. That's on me.
That was a forced one.
Playing in the ACC, do you have any like trophy strikeouts or something?
Not trophies. Most of the ones I remember, because I don't really think back to many of my outings, but I do remember when I played in the Cape, I had gotten a few guys like Spencer Torkelson. I'm pretty sure he
Nice.
grounded out to second, which I'll take. That was before I blew that game, but hey, that's another story. I got that victory.
Summer ball, yeah.
JJ Bleday hit about a 5,000-foot fly out off me to the warning track, which I'll take that.
Out.
But honestly, the biggest names I faced were when I was like 14. I was playing in the East Cobb tournament, and we were in like the Elite Eight. And my team, I was playing up for a week, and we had completely run out of pitchers. And so they put me in to start this game, and it was against FTB Chandler, which I've recently went back and looked at what their roster was, because like in the moment I was like, okay, these guys are pretty good. But looking back, I realized they were really good. It was like Bo Bichette, Nick Gordon, Ryan Mountcastle, and Jonathan India were their first four.
Four studs.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, I'm 14, fat, and throw 83, so it should be fun. But I somehow got all of them out at least once, and then second time through an order, they destroyed me. But that first time through, I had them.
Oh, hell yeah. No, you don't have to bring up the second time through the order. You relaxed after you realize you got the best of them, and you can, put a feather in your cap.
Yeah, it was a lot of sliders, a lot of weird submarine sliders.
And listen, you don't need to say how old they were when you got them out either. You can just say, I got Bo Bichette out,
Yeah, that's a good point. I need to be better about bragging about it.
No, let it fly. Like we just said, I'm going to be doing it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do now. Now that I'm done playing, I can talk about it, because I'm not going to have to ever see them again where they could take me yard,
Not unless the Bananas do a barnstorming tour and you're on the team and they play against some big leaguers or something. So never say never.
That's true. That's true.
Some other series I wanted to talk about. Penn won the series at Texas A&M.
It's big.
That's freaking awesome, man. I mean, also one of, from my understanding, a really, really hostile environment for visiting teams. I'm sure they're like nice people and whatever, but they've got the ball five chant, they're loud and rowdy, and it's a crazy stadium. So for them to go in there after 2 years off and just take game one, drop game two, and then come back in the ninth, I think they were down 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah.
And then win the series is just unbelievable, tenacity from them. So
yeah, and the world got to learn that they are an incredible Twitter follow. I'm big fans of their Twitter team. They got some bangers.
I noticed that too. They interacted with us a little bit, but they were all over it.
Yeah,
and it's awesome to see a team or a brand or someone tweet like a normal person.
Yeah, especially like an Ivy League, because you're expecting like, okay, these guys are way smarter than I'll ever be, and they're gonna let us know about it. And then it's like, hey, this kid clapped when the plane landed. What an idiot. Things like exactly. That. I love that. I think the best one was the fans were like chirping one of their pitchers about like taking some time between pitches. And they just tweeted, Big Z will throw the ball when he wants to throw the ball. It was really good.
I mean, gotta buck the nerd stereotype of the Ivy League baseball players, because they're just dudes like everybody else, man.
Exactly.
And we had a locker room full of total clowns, and that is every college baseball team in the country, and Ivy League is no exception to that.
I love that.
Mark, you got some other names you want to mention or series you want to get into?
Yeah, we got Stanford beating Arkansas. That was kind of like, I feel like the hot series this weekend. That and Texas and Alabama was also the one I feel like a lot of people had circled. I mean, just like good baseball around. At Arkansas, I mean, talk about a tough start to the season, but I mean, at least it's like to Stanford, who's probably a team that's going to be in Omaha. At least it looks like right now towards the end of the year. Both of those teams, like it feels like the teams at the top right now specifically are just like so deep and so loaded. Like if one guy doesn't have a good series, another guy steps up, and it's just the freshman talent. Even like Stanford's had kid Braden Montgomery, who I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the year. He's been having a great season thus far too. Like I love seeing that, just like how Major League Baseball has kind of gotten a little bit younger, and where like you're seeing a lot more younger stars there. It feels like it's also translating a little bit more to college baseball too now, where like freshmen are getting a little bit more of a shot than maybe they have in the past.
Tommy White effect.
That's what it is.
No. Can't put it all on him, but he's doing a good job of carrying the load there for freshmen, putting a good name on him. Yeah, I mean, we had that game, Stanford versus Arkansas, as our game to watch this week. It got postponed to yesterday, but Stanford really, 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 really good, as we knew, and that's not going to change moving forward. And again, Arkansas, they're really, really good. They dropped one spot in everybody's top 25 to maybe number 3. So
yeah,
that just goes to show you where both the teams compete and we're at.
A lot of competitive games, though. I mean, I tweeted about the UC Irvine versus Grand Canyon game, which was awesome.
You want to hear something weird? So I feel like everyone who was watching college baseball, that was your West Coast game that you were watching at night, because that was the game I was watching. My dad, who's been getting into college baseball now since the start of the podcast stuff, he was like, "Did you watch? What games were you watching?" And I was like, "UC Irvine, Grand Canyon." He's like, "Me too." I'm like, "How is everybody?" Then you bring it up now, it seemed like it was the hot topic.
Oh, I forget who Grand Canyon played, but they scored 1 million runs in their first series.
Yeah.
Their offense is super powered, and they can play. They're a great team. I'm curious how close they are to the actual Grand Canyon.
Does anybody know that? They're right in, I want to say right around Phoenix.
Yeah, you're right.
I've only been to Arizona one time, so I don't really understand it fully. I've only been to the West Coast one time, but I did stop by there because I was supposed to do something with Eric Sim there, but we went to a different college because they wouldn't let us on. But I didn't see any canyon, so I don't know how close it was to the actual thing. So
I think you would have known if it was the canyon.
Yeah, I'm not the most observant, but I would have noticed.
I think so. It would be pretty cool if they did something like the Caribbean series. They do the home run derby into the ocean. It would be awesome if Grand Canyon did one into the canyon.
Yes, that's like their Field of Dreams game almost. Put a game where the fence is the canyon.
Might need a little bit of a buffer zone just in case we get an effort like the Fordham catcher.
Yeah, oh my God, that was crazy.
You don't want someone falling down after unless they catch it.
Or outfielders with parachutes. Either one will work.
Now we're talking. This is Savannah Banana territory.
And then there was one more thing that I wanted to bring up, which was kind of our first tweet that banged, I would say, on our Twitter, which was Enrique Bradfield, who is, again, probably my favorite player in college baseball. Dude's electric. But I didn't realize that a bunt and then stealing 2 bases and then scoring would set the college baseball world ablaze. I mean, the tweet the first 24 hours had 40 likes. And then I wake up the next morning and I text Ben and I'm like, dude, what happened with this? Why is this popping off? Why is a bunt so hot? And it was is this a college baseball thing? Everyone loves bunting. I mean, I even watched the LSU game against Towson. Again, no disrespect to Towson, but LSU should handle them pretty easily. And it was the first inning and they bunted with their 3-hitter to move the guy from first and second to second and third. I was like, something feels wrong here. There's so much bunting and it feels like people love it.
Yeah, I feel like it's because how many times are you going to tune into an MLB game? A guy bunts, gets on first, steals second, steals third. I feel like that's so rare these days. And that kid is literally the fastest kid in the whole wide world.
He's the fastest kid alive. Yeah.
He's fast because when he runs, he just kind of hovers and floats.
Yes.
That's when you know someone's a great runner. I bounced around a lot when I ran. You don't see any tweets about me running.
So I think the appeal of that, like you said, you don't see it in MLB, but I think the reason for why you do see it in college ball is because of something that Brent Rooker said, and that's that every team is trying to win every game and do whatever it takes every game to win. There's no contracts to worry about. You're trying to fight for 90 feet and then get the guy in. And also, you're not seeing the strikeout revolution, let's say, in college baseball. So you can string together 2-3 singles or something. So if he can get on first, get on second, basically for free, someone can probably knock him home, especially with his speed. He could probably score on an infield single.
Yeah,
guy's unbelievable. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm glad people, were receptive to that. And if you're first, reaction to that is, oh, his foot was out of the box. You know, he should be out. Like, come on.
Those are the kids who at the
Yeah.
sleepover where as soon as it hit midnight, they're like, oh, no, that's yesterday. Oh, you mean today? Just the dork.
Well, even like from so I saw a couple comments are like, oh, the pitcher, if he was in good fielding position, you know, it was an easy player. The third baseman really didn't charge that ball hard enough. I'm like, guys, Twitter coaches are the worst. Please stop.
You've got Usain Bolt batting, and you know, you want the guy to just get him out. It's not that easy. Twitter coaches, though, is something that I wanted to bring up with Steven. Thank you for reminding me. I feel like there's a big trend going on of either high school coaches, summer travel ball coaches, or maybe some like low level college coaches tweeting out things like it's okay to like be weird and stay inside and not see your friends because you should be in the cage grinding, or like, you know, put your head down and work in silence. And I understand what they're trying to do, but like I think it's overblown. Like it feels like a retweet tactic, you know?
Yeah, there's so many people out there who are going to tell you everything you're doing is wrong and you need to be out grinding 24/7. It's getting to the point where it's like kind of getting like the life coaches on Instagram, where it's like, if you aren't invested in this NFT and, you know, buying this stock, fuck you. And it's like, no, that's not how it goes. You don't always have to be working. I had a pretty okay career and I still had a social life. Like, it's going to be okay.
I mean, I played my best, and I think most guys do when they're loose and they're having fun. And like, you're going to get your Alex Bregmans who are in the cage until 3, 4 in the morning after the game. Like, there's always going to be those guys, but to have it shoved down your throat by coaches that you don't even know, you know, coaches that you don't even know on Twitter, it's just overbearing. For once, I kind of want to see one coach, and I feel like you're the closest thing to this. I want to see one coach just like, fuck it. If you're 21, go out and drink and celebrate a good game, and you don't have to be studying film all night. And
it's like,
you know,
you can only do so much, especially as a pitcher. Like, what am I going to do? Throw 3 bullpens in one day and not talk to any of my buddies? Or am I going to throw like 1 10-pitch flat ground, call it a day, and get on video games? Like, it's a pretty easy choice for me.
What was the bullpen like at Virginia, and then like in summer ball? And were guys goofing around, or were they pretty locked into the game?
So at Virginia, you'd get a mixed bag of like guys locked in, guys goofing around. I think me personally, I was always a guy who just liked to fuck around and have fun.
No way.
And so like summer ball,
really?
Yeah, I know it's going to surprise a lot of people, but summer ball was absolutely just anarchy mode in the bullpen. Like, no one really was paying too much attention. Typically we were winning, and the guys who, you know, would go in those situations would pay a little bit more attention, or we're losing. And, you know, the guys who would go in when we're losing would continue to not pay attention because that's why they go in at that time.
Right.
But it's just the bullpen during summer baseball is one of the best places on earth. That's where most of my best memories have occurred in the summer ball bullpen, I'd say.
Can only imagine some of the shit that happens there.
Yeah.
You know, summer ball bus rides. I'm sure the minor leagues are the same, where guys are just grinding every day to, and obviously they're taking it a little bit more seriously. But,
Yeah.
you know, when you get a bunch of dudes in the bullpen, you know, hanging out together, no coach out there supervising or whatever, some funny stuff must happen. So, as a position player, I was curious about what the hell happens out there.
I'll tell you more about it off air at some point.
I was gonna say, I was like, is there a story that you could tell on air, or are they all more? We'll keep those private.
Most of the stories I could tell are just kind of like mundane, not the most fun ever. But the private ones are where I'd say the good stuff lies.
Makes sense.
But I'm not trying to tarnish any reputations or anything like that.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, I think I'm good, Mark. If you're good.
Feels like a great place to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep talking for hours if you don't. So.
No, I mean, we could go for 2 hours or whatever if we want, but I think this is a good wrap it up spot. So, Steven Schoch, thank you, sir. This has been an awesome episode. Thank you for coming on. You have an open invite if you ever want to come back.
Of course.
You know,
thank you all.
Yeah, we'll be interacting all the time. Can you give the people your social medias for them to follow you, please?
Yeah, so my Twitter is BigDonkey47, and then my Instagram and TikTok, which I'm on because
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
one of those cool young kids,
Hell yeah.
is Steven_Schoch, I think. I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure it's close to those.
That's Schoch, Schoch. If you're listening to the podcast, you definitely know who Steven is already. You probably already follow him, but on the off chance you don't, you can follow him at those ats. You can also follow me at Ben13Porter and Mark at Giraffe Neck Mark. And then
Great
you can
handle.
follow the podcast. You can follow the podcast, Rally Caps, on Twitter at rallycaps_pod and on Instagram at rallycapspod. And also on YouTube, Mark. We're on YouTube.
Just type in Rally Caps Podcast. You'll be able to find us there. And then the last plug I'll give us is drop us a rating and a review. We need some ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. 5 stars. I expect to see 5-star ratings from everybody.
Have y'all been getting ratings yet?
Maybe a couple, not too many.
Yeah, I think
didn't know
it's
how
a few.
common it is.
Listens have been good, but
Yeah.
ratings and stuff. But comment hashtag shock the world, hashtag shock the nation.
Yeah,
in
shock
the,
the
in the
nation.
review. Review with hashtag shock the nation, 5 stars, and then we'll see how well we can pump this episode. All right, everybody. Steven, thank you again for joining us. It was a lot
Of course.
of fun.
Thank you.
And we're good.